What did it take for you to make the decision to commit to coming down to Opelika, Alabama, to form a band? I mean, that's a huge decision.
Yeah, it was like we all wanted to do that. That's basically it. We all wanted to be in a band.
One of the reasons why I'm doing this right now anyway is because it's kind of an opportunity for us to, you know, say fuck you to life.
Being in front of a band like this is a lot of fun. When they're rocking out behind you, you know, it's really, it's an interesting high, you know. It's a lot of fun.
I'd heard like my dad playing music like my whole life, and like bands and stuff that he was in and everything. So going to bars, like I've been like in bars since I was a little kid.
You know, being a drummer, you're always like, you gotta hold down the heartbeat.
If you know what's good for you.
I hate haters.
What's going on over there?
Thank y'all for coming tonight. We're the Good Doctor Band from Auburn, Alabama.
Have you guys heard of the Good Doctor before?
Yes, I have.
I've seen their posters.
What do you think of them?
I heard them like warming up and they sounded pretty great.
One of the best jam bands I've heard in all.
So I guess basically whatever you want.
Some way I like country music, like old school country stuff. So I was kind of raised on people like, all right, these people are into this kind of music, or some people just want to hear you play covers, and then like you play different bars or different things. Like our first gig was like the Strutting Duck out on Wire Road, so it was like, and we didn't even like have like a real like full set list, so we just tried to play some songs, and like we didn't really go over like that great, but like as we progressed, like you can tell like when you play a song if you've written it, if people are getting into it or not, and like if you're, and what grabs people and what makes people dance, and kind of like and what turns people off, you know.
What kind of music do you guys like?
Excuse me?
What kind of music do you guys like?
Really more into like classic rock kind of stuff.
I'd listen to anything. I like country the best though.
Either we're in good bands that played and play together, or got to be in the business around people that change things in music. Like, and I think that's important. Like, you have to be out there playing and experience what the world's really like.
Like, you know, I would definitely like to be playing like a more dynamic set list in terms of being like, all right, you know, we'll play this 6 songs this gig, and then the next gig we'll play these other songs, and then like kind of change it up a little bit. And the reason why we don't do that more is because we just don't, not even that we don't have the time, it's just like getting everybody together to play is just you know, gets harder and harder and harder as people decide that they want to devote their time to other shit. So, you know, really concentrate on trying to write and, you know, get a sound together and get a band together that's good and make an album and like play shows. And you know, in a lot of places, that's a hard thing to do, you know. Just the cost of living, the cost of life, and like all this other shit starts catching up to you, and you start needing to fulfill these commitments that, you know, at this stage in the game as a musician in a band, we wouldn't be able to do, you know. So it would inevitably be more, you know, just like corporate stuff, playing for, you know, like events and playing and, you know, God only knows, you know, there's so much like professional work out there that you just sit in front of a book of charts and read and get paid, and that's probably what I would be doing, and that's, you know, not what I want to do, because that's, you know, I've been there and that sucks. That's terrible, you know, that whole, you know, dichotomy of playing and like entertaining people and then just playing because somebody decided to spend some money on some background music or whatever, you know, and it's just like, oh man, and then like, you know, like weddings and, you know, things like that, which are, you know, which can be fun, but when you're like in a wedding band, when you're in like a GB, a general business band, it's not fun, dude. You're playing like frickin' We Are Family all straight to like a bunch of people who are like, you know, getting down, and you're just like, oh my God, I want this gig to be over. Give me my money so I can get out of here, you know, please. You know, if I gotta play this Black Eyed Peas song again, I'm gonna frickin' smash my head against the ground just so I can go to the hospital and like get out of this. And, you know, so, you know, obviously, like that's not what I want to do, you know. I mean, if I end up doing that for a little while, you know, so be it. But, you know, that's miserable, and especially the living situation. You know, if I were to move back to Philly or something, you know, I would have to, you know, be spending as much money by myself to maintain an apartment as we collectively spend to maintain this, you know, relatively shitty, obviously, but I mean, still. And when your rent ceases to become a factor, when that most basic need isn't really a big deal, it allows you to be like, all right, you know, I'm going to sit around and play my guitar all day. You know, I don't have to worry about going to work. I don't have to worry about doing this. I don't have to worry about doing that. I can sit around and play guitar all day. I can buy a drum set and just play drums all day and, like, you know, practice and write and listen to music. And, you know, really, if you want to be a creative musician and make an album and be in a band, like, you need to do that. Like, that's part of the, you know, part of the game is putting the time in. And a lot of times the time necessary to do that, most of the time, you know, is spent having to just slum it for a while because you're not going to work and you're not doing this and you're not doing that because you're trying to, you know, in theory anyway, theoretically, you're trying to do, you know, you're trying to make a record. And when you like look back at other bands, you know, this isn't like a unique model, not that we're like consciously emulating other bands in terms of like what they did. Oh, we're going to do that. We're going to live like a bunch of schmucks for a couple of years. Like, it's just that's the way it has to be. You know, you got to do it. Like, the time it takes to, you know, develop a sound and write and, you know, compose a record and a range of stuff, especially in our band with horn parts and with all these different aspects that need to be consciously, you know, organized before you go in the studio. Live, you can kind of get away with, you know, half-assing it a little bit or allowing that kind of ambiguity to be there in terms of what you're playing and how it comes off. But when you go in the studio, you can't do that. You got to be able to, you know, lay your shit down, because every minute that you waste costs you money. You know, costs you lots of money. So, you know, that's the time, that's the work really. The 9 to 5, you know, should be rehearsing and writing and playing and practicing and shit. So.
Can you paint us a picture of that dream for the band for you?
I want to go places like different, not places like metaphorically, but like I want to go to locations. I want to go like around Europe. I want to go to Japan. I want to go to Cambodia. I want to see like crazy ruins and play in like crazy venues, you know, like I want to go, I want to travel the world. I want to make enough money that, you know, I can certainly live on and pay my debt, and help take care of my family, you know, the people who have taken care of me. But I don't want to be, I don't need to be rich or anything. I just want to like have fun while I'm, you know, while I'm alive. And in the end, I do want there to be proof, like, I want there to be like recorded proof of what I did while I was here. Like, you know, sound recordings of me playing trumpet and singing and, you know, other people recording songs that I've written, including myself recording songs that I've written. I want there to be like, you know, documentation of my existence. You know what I mean? Yeah, like this.
What does the band look like at its most successful, you know, at the pinnacle?
What does the band look like at the pinnacle? I think Certainly having sold music to people. However that looks in our generation on paper, you know, whether it be, you know, iTunes now or whatever it is that sells is going to be the way to document the selling of records in the future. Selling, you know, having people want to spend money to buy our music would be one of the things. And like I said, I think not just like here, not just regionally, and not just like in the United States, but like all over the world, you know. Because I feel like I want to create something that is like accessible to, you know, humanity, humanly connects to the human race, and not just like any kind of nationalistic sentiment or anything like that. I mean, I feel like the band is kind of like a platform for each of the members to share their talents and their music with an audience, whether it be in person or through a recording. And that platform, you know, is constantly evolving and constantly changing, but I feel like it's there because of the talents and things that the individuals bring to the table. And so like at the end, I think the success will be determined by how much the world, it's coming out of my mouth, it sounds like really like conceited, I guess, or arrogant, but how much the world knows of each of us. Yeah. You know, how much can we connect to how many, you know, to how many people.
Perfect.
David! I'm not leaving until he sees me.
Oh!
I see you. I see you.
Playing the music is just kind of, it's like what gets people dancing, and it's like we could be in any era and we'd probably be playing the music of whatever that era was we were playing in. If we were in the 60s, we'd probably be doing rock and roll stuff, you know, and like 70s probably funk, disco kind of stuff. But like, I think we're not really trying to go in any genre that's already out there right now. Like, we're not trying to be like a hip-hop band or a funk band, you know. We kind of are, but in the funk genre we play a lot of those covers and stuff, but when it comes to originals, it's kind of just a mix of all that stuff and fusion and like improvising. Basically what I'm saying is like improvising over a country tune or improvising over a funk tune and a jazz tune. It's all basically the same, and if you can get to a point where you can break away from thinking about it, like all the stuff that you've learned necessarily, like, and just kind of just play, you know, that's when usually the best stuff comes out, and like you can build like basically like a composition or a song with live like with other people, you know, with like at the same time, instead of you just doing it on your own, you know. So you've got like 4 other people with you growing, like, and changing with you wherever you decide to go, and trying to like anticipate where you're going. And the more you play with people, the more like there's this intimate kind of relationship with listening and trying to play off each other and stuff.
You know, being the drummer, you're always like, you gotta hold down the heartbeat.
If you know what's good for you,
I hate haters.
What's going on over there?
man. Ideally, like, I mean, the short term and the long term goal, really, like, what I want out of this band is make a good record, you know. But the amount of time and effort and like money and, you know, energy and just like, you know, just every aspect of your life needs to be that. You know, if you want to make a good album, like, you really, everything needs to be that. And if you're gonna half-ass it, you're gonna get a half-ass record out of the deal. So, you know, I ideally, I guess, would like to make a good album, you know, and to be in a position where everybody else wants to do the same thing and isn't like caught up in whatever the hell else they want to do instead, you know, because then it's all just like stumbling blocks in the road. So that's it, really. I mean, my primary, you know, desire, I mean, playing shows is fun, but I want to make a record, like a real record, like an actual album. So that would be my goal, I guess, and that should be the goal of every asshole in this band. So we'll see if that happens or not. Because if that happens, you know, then, you know, you take it from there. And if that doesn't happen, then you're perpetually stuck in this kind of like twilight zone of, you know, you might be playing a lot of gigs, but like, what's the point? You know, I mean, if the point is just to get paid, at some point you're going to be like, well, I might as well just get a job. God.
Do you ever see yourself like a normal job?
Well, that's what, that's kind of tough. You know, every once in a while, you think you wonder about job security. You know, bands break up, and you know, we certainly have our times and our differences. And every time I start to think, you know, I think, I mean, it would be hard for me to see. I mean, it's hard to think about my life being just teaching, because when I was just teaching, I didn't get to play as much. You know, like I was, you know, in charge of other people playing, which is cool. It really is. But not as cool as playing. You know, so like the time that it takes to do to do a real job, as you call it, would you know, take away from my time to do what I really want to do.
Right.
You know,
And
so.
not so much as a real job. It's like a stereotypical. Like,
Yeah, no, yeah. Well, because, you know, this is obviously not a real job, right?
And I was do my internship at Billboard magazine, and like,
What were you doing at Billboard?
I was just doing people would call up and they'd be like, hey, my band was on this chart in blah, 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 like June 11th, 1964 issue. I was wondering if I can get that. So I'd have to go and get the chart from like the original library, photocopy it, and then send it out to him. And that was it. That's all I got to do. Like I couldn't like see anybody. Like I was like in my own little world, like fax world.
Hey, do you have a stamp? No, but you've been here already? Okay, you've already been in here. Can you take the cover? Yeah, but you were in here earlier.
What's the cover? Oh, great. You guys sounded really good, so I'll give you a cover.
Oh, dude, thank you very much.
So I've known Chris for a long time.
Oh, okay, cool. You a player too?
Yeah, I finished yours.
All right, cool. Oh, yeah. Thank you very much. Well, I like voluntary cover. That's not badass.
You what?
Voluntary cover, you know. I don't have to pay, but I'll pay.
Well, my name's Reed Alexander. My alter ego is, I'm also the news director for Quantum Communications, which has 4 radio stations, 2 FM, 2 AM. The 2 that you probably would be familiar with, 97.7 Kicker FM and Mix 96.7. I do the news every morning, and then I'm also on the morning shows as well. I'm minored in music personally, so I like music a lot, but not as like band stuff. I don't play an instrument. So music to me means a lot. I feel like in talking in general about music, it has that special, it's like a smell, it's like you hear a song or you smell something unique, it reminds you of a specific memory that you had in your life. Locally, if local bands can access that, then I think they could do really well. That meaning and emotional response of people to music locally, if you can expose that, I think it'll go really far.
What do you think it takes for a local band to, I guess, break through and be radio worthy?
Well, let's see. It's such a hard question. In music, in radio and music in general is so subjective. You're gonna have somebody that like loves it, then you have somebody that just hates it. I think for bands, I don't have a ton of experience as far as like band life, but I feel like if you're unique, you do something or have a certain sound that is unique, then, what's popular, I think that might help you. If you have something so unique and you provide a special experience to make people go, yeah, I really like that, I think you will gain popularity. I think a lot of bands try to copy, and not that they do covers, but just their sound is like something else. They're not branding themselves any different.
What's your opinion of a local band trying to make it big?
Well, I mean, I think local bands are really cool. They're young enough to where they still have the passion, to perform, and they really want to do well. It's very hard. There's a few people locally that have made it out and done some really cool things. They tour with some really cool people. But I feel like for the most part, certain people, they do it as sort of to kill time, make some money while they go to school, and then they do something else afterwards. But I think some bands can struggle a long time, and they waste a lot of time trying to make it when they might not have the talent, or, it could be just something, it wasn't luck. They weren't lucky enough to make it.
Being the drummer, you're always like, you gotta hold down the heartbeat.
If you know what's good for you.
I hate haters.
What's going on over there?
You wanted to like capture the essence, Paul. Whatever happened to integrity?
It's for a school project.
It's true.
What if we just
Gotta
like
go get Jonas playing some stupid
turn around and
songs.
smoke?
You get
Thanks.
Do you partake?
you get down.
Yeah. Yo, you got a joint? Be a lot cooler than you did.
Water.
Always sunny.
Yeah. Should be some mysterious things in there.
My sub Lisa left me. Well, I don't think she meant to, but she left me a season of Always Sunny. I like it. I've been watching it recently.
Pretty funny.
Do you like Arrested Development?
And just everywhere you go, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, like there's like people playing music in all these bars, doing all this stuff all the time, and some of it's good and some of it sucks, but either way, I mean, they're still playing gigs. Pretty supportive community for all kinds of stuff, whether you're just a, singer-songwriter or band or whatever, or a little bit of everything. Like there's plenty to do here, which is, really pretty phenomenal from like a musician standpoint, that you can really be playing, 3-4 nights a week and, making money too.
Every time we go and play somewhere, whether we had a shitty show or not, and we go back and we have a shitty show, we've always had good compliments. I'm not trying to be cocky or anything at all, but like we've always there's always someone there that says you did, you're doing a good job, or like your song was awesome or something, and like no matter what happens personally after the show or whatever, or before the show, you don't know what's gonna happen. All the shit that happens in between into the music and making good records together. Because like when you find people that you can make good records with, you don't want to let that go.
take too much of y'all's time.
Oh, no worries.
It'd be cool.
That's what we all have. Plenty of.